Hey everybody, I just got this new Shuriken 180 and it was really cool in the package, but I have a DX9 and obviously a Spektrum receiver on this thing, and I couldn't get the settings in Cleanflight going right away, so I just want to kind of cover what I did real quick so that you guys can get bound and flying. What I found was you got to go and you have to adjust a bunch of the controls. So again, make sure you take the props off when you're doing this stuff. In my case, I went into the control setup and I had to adjust the travels. As you can see, the alt, the roll, the pitch, the yaw, all to 146 and 147. In Cleanflight, this equates to 1000 to 2000 on the scale. And I also had to go through for my auxiliary switches and decrease the lower travel to negative 146. You won't see the negative here. I also had to do a little bit of reversing on some of these, so I had to go ahead and inhibit the gear switch as well as reverse a couple of the auxiliary switches. You can also check that out on the Cleanflight. All the speed settings are normal and the absolute travel and all that sub-trim stuff. So nothing that you need to do there. I did also go into my system setup and inside of my channel assignments, I just had to make sure that the gear was inhibited, and for the RX port, sorry about the beeping here, and that my auxiliary switches were on the switches I wanted. I set A to aux1, the D switch to aux2, E to aux3, and the G switch to aux4 on the DX9, and that helped me get in there. Let's go back here in Cleanflight and set everything up. So going over to Cleanflight, one of the things to note that I did go ahead and take the latest firmware for this thing. So if you go over to your CLI and do a quick dump, you can see all your values for your copter. Note that when you do that dump, it's going to reset. But you can see I'm using the latest version of Betaflight here as of 12 August. And I went ahead and made sure that this was the latest version of Cleanflight. Yeah, just flashed the firmware usual way, nothing there. In your port configuration, I had to have UART1, the MSP setting, and 3 for the receiver turned on. In your config screen, I just have the one-shot setting on. Didn't really do anything here. The system rate's at 500, so you know. Black box is on, and that's about it. Spektrum 2048 RX serial, as you would expect. The failsafe settings are the stock settings. It's just going to land at under 1,000, right? So here's where the magic happens with the receiver, and you can now see when I take the throttle switch, I'm going from 1002 to 2001. My yaw settings are about the same. Also the pitch and roll. This is what enabled me when I went and set the modes to actually get the system to ARM, which was my biggest problem. On my setting, you'll see that this is aux2, which I have on the back switch here. aux3, I'll show you what that does in a second. aux4, and you can see the travel rates. Again, 1002, 1841 here. And so what I did was I just went into modes. I've got ARM, air, angle, and horizon. ARM is on aux3 and air on aux3. You can see that when I set those switches, that now arms the system. And when I go over to the last mode, it's air mode. And then I've got angle set on aux 3, or sorry, aux 4 here, over on the right, and then also horizon mode set. And last but not least, on aux 5, I set the beeper in black box. So if you come over here, whoops, aux 5, up here, you get the beeper. In case you lose the thing, you can find it in the black box settings. So that's about it. Hopefully all goes well for you guys. Remember, take your props off, and happy flying.